This podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp. We may be a comic duo, but we take mental health very serious. BetterHelp is the world's largest therapy service and is completely online. BetterHelp is a network with over 30,000 licensed and experienced therapists who can help you with a wide range of issues. To get started, answer a few questions, and BetterHelp can match you with the right therapist from their network.
You can message your therapist at any time and schedule live sessions when it's convenient for you. If your therapist isn't the right fit for any reason, you can switch to a new therapist at no additional charge. With BetterHelp, you get the same professionalism and quality you expect from in-office therapy, but with a therapist who is custom-picked for you, more scheduling flexibility, and at a more affordable price. Get 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/amp. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/amp.
Understanding when someone is constantly bringing up negative things to fight with you. Why? And we're just going to use work as an example. So by the time this goes live, it's probably going to be months old because I have some ideas. I'm writing some things down. I want to share this. But the passion for finishing this episode just isn't there because I am going through my own fight right now. And I don't want it to sound bad. I want it to sound like I made a solution because that's what we're here for. We want to be the solution, not the problem. So there might be some cuts in here. There might be some edits, but I'm going to try and get through this. So my whole thing was, why does this person keep fighting with me? Why do I spend weeks planning and I send what I feel is the best of how to accomplish something, and they will find 1, 2, or 3 words in a whole plan and ask you about it, but it's more of, oh no, this is not going to happen this way. Or they're trying to pull the error out of anything that you send. Or they just write back to say, well, I can't do that because of this, this, and this. Or how do you expect us to do something like this? Have you even completed this project yourself to see what we are going to go through? And it just goes on and on and on. It can be a sign of a deeper issue. Okay, so unresolved frustration. Maybe they were once in control. They're no longer in control. Maybe they're just someone that needs to be in control. Or they just have a desire to provoke conflict, right? They just want to fight. They just want to fight. They just want to be negative. They just want to fight. You know, who knows? There could be jealousy. There could be a self-esteem problem. We don't know really, but we're going to just kind of touch on a few of them. So maybe we could understand what might be happening and how to approach the situation by keeping ourselves mentally healthy, because that's what this is all about, right? So we're going to go through a few of them. Projection of personal issues. Sometimes when a person brings up negative topics repeatedly or they're fighting you, they may be projecting their own personal dissatisfaction or frustration onto others or onto you. If they just, they're throwing a whole bunch of people on copy because they just want to prove to everybody that they found the one error, or they just want to ask the question that maybe they don't think you asked yourself before sending the solution, or maybe they want to be the first person that sends something back that, shows something that's incorrect or how something's not going to happen. They might just be unhappy about something unrelated to you, but they use the conflict as an outlet for their feelings. So think about where they're coming from. I am a big believer of leaving it at the door for work and then leaving work at the door for home. I'm a big believer in that, but we understand people have personal things going on as well. Sometimes you do bring it to work, but if this is a constant, like you've known the person for years, you just know they're going to send something back, we got some deeper issues, right? So we just have to remember that it might be their own personal dissatisfaction or their frustration. Maybe they were once a boss and they just don't like the way you communicate, so they're going to just pick on every little thing. We just have to remember that they might be using you as an outlet for their feelings. You may be doing everything right, or at least 99% right. When we send something as managers or as bosses or leads, when we send something off, we give 100% on what we think is correct. And, we make mistakes, right? We're human. So if someone does write something back and say, hey, quick question on this, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the person that is a constant writing back, picking out the negative, sharing negative. Why are you expecting us to do this? That kind of thing. It could be that they're seeking control or power. Consistently bringing up negative points can be a way for someone to try to gain control or power of a situation. So very similar to maybe, with the personal issues. They focus on the negative. They might try to shift attention away from their own shortcomings. That's a big one. Or create a dynamic where they feel they're in charge of the situation. And, this has been years ago, so I can't even remember a lot of the emails that were sent back and forth, or the text messages or the phone calls that I would get. But once I realized that I think it's because the person always had a tough time completing a project, it was more of a shortcoming. And I realized that they just couldn't get everything organized. They were maybe a little unorganized. So even if you bullet pointed step 1, step 2, step 3, they just couldn't figure it out. So they were frustrated with themselves, but they had to blame you or me for not completely explaining everything very, very detailed. Where maybe someone else, and that wasn't my problem. It wasn't their problem. It was something that we had to work together. It wasn't anyone doing anything wrong, but shortcomings is a big one. Like this same person though would write back and say all the excuses why they couldn't, or, all of a sudden they were calling off. And so I started to realize that they just didn't understand directions. So I knew when new projects would come up that I would go and work with that person a couple times, and then we would write everything out together, and then it worked out. I got lucky on that one. But sometimes they just want to create dynamic where they feel in charge all the time, and they're going to do it their way. And it may not be the way that you had the meetings and you had the plans and and all of a sudden they're doing it their own way. And you're like, oh no, why do you have to do this? The next one is emotional manipulation. That's a tough word for me to say, not because it's a tough issue. It's just a tough word. But in some cases, this behavior can be a form of emotional manipulation or even gaslighting. Look it up. We all know what that is, and we know examples of it. The person may intentionally provoke arguments to destabilize your emotions or make you question your own perspective. That's when you're like, wait, did I say that? Wait, did I write that? And you're referring to your own emails, thoughts, and feedback because that person is questioning it. No, I thought you said last week that we were going to do it this way. And so you're thinking about it and you're like, did I say that? If you question yourself over and over again with this same person, you could be getting gaslighted. So be very careful there. Stay confident. Keep your self-esteem high. Don't let them beat you down. Their goal may be to make you appear defensive or reactive. That's a big one. I tell everyone, do not shoot from the hip. So let's just say you have anyone in your life that anything you say or do, or if it's at work and you write an email and they're back, they want a reaction from you because they want to find those couple words that they think is wrong and they want to correct you and they copy people on it and all that kind of stuff. They want that reaction from you. Don't shoot from the hip. In other words, don't go on emotion. Don't write back. I used to do it all the time. I used to write back right away, and you could just, you obviously you can't put emotion to text, but if you're getting if you're writing an email back within 1 minute of them writing to you, you're being reactive. You're shooting from the hip. Don't do that. Read through the email a couple times. Take the emotion out of it. Hear yourself reading that email out loud or that text out loud. Pull the facts and only respond back on the facts when you are ready. Don't shoot from the hip. Lack of healthy communication skills is another one. Number 4, the person may simply lack effective communication skills. and they resort to conflict as a way to express dissatisfaction or deal with stress. So they may. I have had it happen, not recently, but I've had it happen where people write back and they kind of share their day a little bit and they don't really stay on track of what the facts of the goals are or the project. And they just kind of go back and forth. And instead of addressing the concerns in a constructive manner, they fall into these patterns of negativity. I was at the office, and as I was walking in, I saw this, and this almost fell on me. And then I decided to do the project, but the project required more things than what I had planned because you didn't put it in your email. That's negative. As managers, as bosses, as leads, we do our best to explain what has been explained to us for the project. So someone that's maybe unhealthy in their communication skills will do something like that. They'll fall into patterns of negativity. And you just have to, again, filter, read through the facts, take all the emotion out of it, and respond with how to help them get the job or the project done. Another one is avoidance of accountability. Constantly pointing out the negative can be a way for the person to deflect responsibility or avoid accountability for their own behavior. So, by creating conflict, they distract from their own potential failings or problems. And, that's a tough one because when you're a lead or a manager or a boss and you want to get things done, but maybe you have a team member that's negative and they just don't want to be held accountable, but in a way they do act like they're accountable, but they really aren't 100%. It's very hard. You have to read through all that. And again, filter through the responses, pull the facts of what they need, what is necessary to succeed. Help me help you, right? So, how do you handle a situation? If anything sounds familiar, if you're going through anything like this, how do you handle the situation? There are so many different people in this world with so many different personalities. You may run into someone that is just bringing negative into your life, and you might be a positive person, but maybe it's weighing you down. Maybe you are like, a little bit of gaslighting. And so you're like, did I say that last week? Was that in my email? When we talked last week, you said, did I say that? If you're asking yourself questions like that, you might be going through something like this with a negative person. So acknowledge it, realize it, and then take the actions. For example, here's how you're going to handle the situation. And these are just suggestions, and this is something that I tried. Everything that I do is an experiment in life. So it takes me months and months to write these episodes because I go through them real time, real life, so that I can share them. Stay calm and centered. So I tried not to let the negativity provoke an emotional reaction, although it does sometimes. You just get angry, and that's okay. Acknowledge that you're angry. Acknowledge that something happened. Acknowledge that you were wronged. But then stay calm and collected, and it'll prevent you from being drawn into a heated argument. So I've been having that happen actually just recently. Very upset about a few things that are going on, and I am angry about it, but I'm recognizing that I'm angry. I'm recognizing that I can be angry because things are happening, but then I have to take a deep breath and say, okay, back to what I need to do. Heads down, into my department. Let's do what we need to do. Acknowledge without engaging. In other words, acknowledge their concerns without engaging in the fight. So, for example, respond with something like, I understand your frustration. I acknowledge your frustration. I hear you. Let's focus on finding a solution. Now, again, that's hard because what if it's someone that's not solution driven? They're just going to keep going, or maybe they just keep preventing you from finding a solution. Well, you maybe are finding the solution, but they're just not going with it. I hear what you're saying, but let's keep this discussion productive, right? So this is what you did to me. Like if you're angry about something, this is what you said. I'm pulling the facts out. I'm going to give you a solution as an idea, right? You can't get this project done because of this. Well, why don't we do it this way? You have to keep pivoting and focusing on a solution. You also have to set clear boundaries. I've had to do that recently and in the past few years. If negativity persists, it's important to set boundaries, and I do them immediately now. Immediately. My mental health is so much more important than anything else right now because I've learned in the past few years. Like, for example, I'm happy to discuss work issues constructively, but I won't engage in arguments or negativity. You just won't do it. Like, let's just talk about a solution. I understand what you're going through because I did it myself. And this is why I was able to write how to get the project completed. And so I'm not going to engage in the arguments about it. This is what we're doing. This is how it can be done. You may find an easier way for you, but as long as the goal's the same and the project gets done the same way, I'm okay with it. But I'm not going to engage in your negativity. And then how about redirect the solutions? Instead of focusing on the negative points that they bring up, redirect the conversation. I've done that so many times. Redirect it in finding solutions. Ask questions like, what do you think we can do to fix this? Or how can we move forward from here? Right? I actually just had a conversation a couple weeks ago with someone. I got so upset about something and they called me and they said, and they actually had to do it for me because I was the one bringing negativity because something happened and I was holding on to it. And they said, how can I help you? Let me help you. And they would not get off the phone until I was like, okay, can you do this for me? Absolutely. Yes, I can. And once I let it go and I let that person help me, I felt so much better. And sometimes we have to do that. So another one is don't take it personally, right? Especially if it's at work. Remember, their behavior is more about them than it is about you. If you feel that you are doing 100%, you're staying positive, you got this project, you got this goal, you're trying to bring in money, whatever you need to do for your company or the business that you work for, try to detach emotionally and not take their negativity as a personal attack. Again, millions and billions of people in this world, everyone has different personalities. Most are very easy to work with, but sometimes you have that one person, so you have to get through it. Remember, their behavior is about them. It's not about you. As long as you're not instigating a negative behavior out of them, you're not trying to do anything, not trying to pull anything from them. You're not, make sure you're staying correct and professional. It's more about them. And then, of course, involve your management if necessary. If it becomes toxic or if it starts affecting your work environment or your mental well-being, just consider discussing it with someone that you trust, not gossip time. It's someone that can do something about it. Seek guidance from them, ask them for their help. Maybe they can explain something on a call to the person that they'll understand that person. Sometimes that happens. Sometimes you have to get 3 or 4 people on there and say, listen, here is what's happening. Thank you so-and-so for bringing this up. That is such a great point. I've tried to explain it to you, but we're not on the same page here. So I brought in this person to maybe think of another idea. And it works. Sometimes it works. Sometimes bringing in that third person helps, right? So you may not fully understand the root cause, but trying to understand the root cause of someone's negativity can maybe help you navigate the situation with clarity and professionalism, allowing you to diffuse conflict before it escalates. So another thing that I want to share is how to let go and start fresh every day. I've actually had to do that the past few weeks because every single week I've had something happen and I think to myself, awesome. Why? Like for me in my brain, there was just no reason for it. And then I get upset about it and I was letting it pile up. So I had to learn to let go of workplace negativity and try to start fresh every day. I am so not great at this. I let things pile up And it's crazy. I'm going to admit it. I just do. And so, and it's just one of my worst toxic traits is that I can say that I'm going to let something go and then I let it pile up and then I just get angrier and angrier. So I'm learning. So learn with me. Letting go of workplace negativity and starting fresh every day is key to maintaining your mental well-being and productivity. So just want to share some just practical things, easy things. Number one, acknowledge your feelings. Name the emotion. Are you sad? Are you hurt? Are you angry? I actually got hurt last week. I was very sad about something. I have a terrible trust issue, speaking of. And as soon as I feel like someone lied to me or they didn't include me in something, I immediately get just so hurt. Like, really? Why? That's what I always ask. So I had to name my emotions. Recognize any frustration or anger or sadness or anything that you feel instead of suppressing it, which I used to do. Oh my gosh, the chest would hurt. Hey. Journaling for a few minutes, speaking out loud, singing, venting, just identify the emotion. Just say to yourself, I'm mad right now. I'm sad right now. I'm hurt right now. I'm confused right now. Whatever it is. And then give yourself permission to feel it. Okay, don't try to suppress it. It's okay to feel upset. Remind yourself that these emotions don't have to dictate your mood for the rest of the day. I was hurt last week. I found out something had happened and I was like, cool. I thought these people were my friends. They're not. I got hurt and I went, okay, so now what do we do? And I thought about a few things and that was it. Move on. Had a great afternoon. Practice mindfulness. Be present. When you leave work or encounter negativity, use mindfulness to bring yourself back to the present. In other words, I like to pile things up. My therapist reminded me, don't let the things pile up because that was in the past. Because what happens is if you let things pile up, every single time that person that might be negative or bringing something to you adds to it, again, you're overflowing. Again, you're mad. Again, you're hurt. Again, you're frustrated. You got to let the past go. Just be present. If the negative person or someone that might be you're just not connecting with, if they bring something to you yet again, for me, it's been week over week, you go, okay, what is this situation? Let's fix this situation. Not go, oh, he always does that, or oh, she always does that. They always do that. I don't know why they keep doing it. And then you're piling it up, right? That's it. Be present. When you leave work or encounter negativity, use mindfulness to bring yourself back to the present. Focus on your breath. Take a moment to observe your surroundings. Take a mindful break for a second. Step away from your desk for a few minutes. Step away from the situation. Clear your head. Only think about what's happening. Deep breathing, quick meditation. It can just help reset during the day. Don't think about the past. Don't think about what could happen. We never want to assume anything because all that does is make it worse. Create a mental reset routine. For example, I do this all the time. End of the day reflection. So even if it's a super, super frustrating day, I always end my day with gratitude. What am I thankful for? Breathing, being upright, having a job, having a beautiful family, having a home to come back to, anything, any kind of gratitude you want. Puppy, cat, spouse, kid, whatever you want to do. How about reset time? How about a transition ritual reset? Just develop a simple routine for leaving work behind when you get home. Like just take a short walk, take the puppy for a walk, do a brief workout, listen to music. Have one song that helps you transition from work to home. It's a ritual. This helps signal your brain that work is over. Sometimes I drive home with nothing and my brain resets because it's quiet. Do that. Visualize a fresh start. Mental reset. Each morning or after an upsetting interaction, visualize hitting a reset button in your mind. Like, you know what? Okay, that's done. Or you wake up in the morning, instead of getting that stomach ache or those thoughts, or you're like, oh, here we go again, Monday mornings, right? Imagine all the negativity from the previous day being wiped clean like erasing a chalkboard. Hit that reset button and say, no, today's going to be a good day. Bring it on. Let's do this. Set positive intentions. Today I choose patience. I will focus on what I can control. It's a powerful way to anchor your mindset. Just do it. Here's what I'm going to do. Positive intention. Sometimes you're lying to yourself because you might already be feeling negative. Try it. Say positive things out loud. Your brain will listen, okay? Focus on what you can control. You can't control other people. You can't. You can't control other people. You can control your reaction to them. You can control your boundaries. Let go of what's beyond your control. Acknowledge that you can't control other people's behavior, only how you respond. This mindset shift reduces frustration and gives you a sense of empowerment. Control your reactions, right? Don't shoot from the hip. Practice responding calmly after you've calmed down. Don't react impulsively to negativity. Remind yourself that you have the choice not to be affected by others' actions. What a great line. I think I wrote that in the middle of the night. Remind yourself that you have the choice not to be affected by others' actions. Amazing. Set boundaries. We know it. We know it. Do we do it? We might. When you leave work, mentally put away any unresolved conflicts or negativity. You got a family waiting for you at home. You got a puppy or a cat or whatever. You got a spouse. You got kids. Remind yourself that it's okay to revisit the issues tomorrow, but don't carry them into your personal time. Don't carry them to the gym. Don't carry them out to dinner. Don't carry them out for a glass of wine with someone. Don't carry them out with a friend. Whatever you do after work, don't carry any negativity into your personal time. Avoid replaying negative situations. I do that. Can't help it. I'm trying to work on that. Stop yourself from mentally replaying conflicts. I practice fighting with people in my head. It's so ridiculous. Like if they say this, I'm going to say this. Oh my gosh. I catch myself all the time and say, knock it off, and I'll put on my favorite song and I'll get over it. Stop yourself from mentally replaying conflicts or negative conversations over and over again. Just interrupt that thought pattern by shifting focus to something enjoyable or productive. I actually sometimes clap my hands and it just resets myself. I just kind of go, and then it just resets me. Like, especially if I'm in the car after maybe I had a bad experience at, a store or at the office or whatever. Avoid replaying the negative situations. They're done. They're in the past. Cultivate positive relationships. Seek out positive interactions. Surround yourself with coworkers or people who uplift and support you. Positive social connections at work can buffer the effects of negativity. Oh, do I have a support system? I have some amazing people around me, and they're positive and they're there for me, and I hope vice versa. Practice empathy and compassion. Remind yourself that everyone has struggles. Try to approach difficult coworkers with empathy. I hear you. I appreciate you sharing that. Let's get a solution. It might just help you feel less reactive to their behavior. Focus on the bigger picture. Got to do it. Don't get into the small. Shift your perspective. Remind yourself why you're working and the bigger goals you're working toward. Everything is temporary. My son told me that 2 weeks ago. Everything is temporary. When you focus on your own purpose and long-term objectives, day-to-day frustrations feel less significant. This frustration right now that you might be going through is very temporary. Because you know what? You're going to let it go. You may have to revisit it tomorrow, but you're going to have a solution. So it's very temporary, this frustration that you might be going through. Celebrate your small wins. We know it. Take time to acknowledge your achievements, no matter how small. You got up and had gratitude. You went to bed and had gratitude. You're breathing. You're upright. You're working. You have a job. You have a home to come to. Whatever. Celebrate the small wins. You had a great day. You didn't think of anything negative today. Nobody frustrated you today. Small win. This can help you feel a sense of progress and accomplishment. And you know what? You're going to get addicted to it. You're going to want to have those small wins become big wins. Practice self-care, please, always. Physical well-being, exercise, take a walk, healthy eating every once in a while. I like my sugar and my caffeine. But, do it if you can. Eat healthy. Getting enough sleep when you can is significant. It'll boost your resilience to stress because you can think clearer. You're awake. You're not exhausted. It just happened to me. I was exhausted from the week and something happened on Friday morning and I lost it. I was tired. I started crying. I had no resilience to stress. It was rough. I called a friend and she thought something happened to one of the kids. I was so emotionally wrecked. So, yeah, you gotta take care of your well-being. Mental self-care. Engage in activities outside of work that help you decompress, such as reading, spending time with loved ones, practicing hobbies. Do something different than thinking about stressful situations. And again, start each day with a positive routine, something uplifting, whatever you want. A few minutes of meditation. Sometimes I drink my coffee and I sit in the middle of the living room and I just close my eyes and I listen to the birds and sip on my coffee and just take 5 minutes to think about nothing. Relax the brain. Sometimes your brain just goes and goes and goes and thoughts and you're dreaming and you're thinking and, sometimes just give it those few minutes. It just kind of helps set a positive tone for the rest of your day. And then, of course, affirmations. We already mentioned it once. Today is a new day. I am in control of my happiness. You can do this. Practice some techniques. You can gradually build a habit of letting go of negativity, starting fresh each day with a sense of optimism, inner calm, just letting go. Take care of you. Take care of your loved ones. Put yourself first. Erase the negativity. End your day with gratitude. Talk to you next time.